Always great catching up with my next guest. Robert Whittaker, of course, is coming off a really impressive win over Marvin Vettori a few weeks ago at UFC Paris. Robert, how are you, sir?
Very good, thanks, mate. Thanks for having me.
Hey, pleasure is all mine, man. I know I'm getting you in the morning, so I know you're getting your day started, so I really appreciate this. But before we talk about your win, we got to talk a little bit about UFC 279. What a crazy card that was. Just your reaction first to Khamzat Chimaev missing weight and the entire card getting shuffled around. We haven't really seen that before.
Yeah, what can I say? It's it was a bit of a circus, to be honest. It's I guess I understand we're in the fight business. This is what we do with fighters, and there's a certain sort of character and personality that comes with the industry. But we're professionals. We're on the highest stage. We've set an example for, we're athletes of the highest caliber. I don't know what to explain. It just got away a bit.
Was it the right move switching up all the fights, do you think?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's like I said, the normal rule set doesn't really can't be used universally against sports because they are so different. So we're in the fight game, and if there's a grudge and there's a reason to make those decisions and they've spoken to the fighters, I'm sure there's a lot of things that went backstage and background chats and talks and stuff, because I'm sure they just didn't make the change. But yeah, it's without all the information, we're all just making guesses.
I completely agree. Yeah, no, it's a lot of assumption. I agree. We don't really know what's happening behind the scenes. We did end up getting a pretty entertaining fight between Nate Diaz and Tony Ferguson. What did you think of Nate Diaz getting that first submission win since the McGregor fight? Very impressive.
Yeah, that was just classic Nate. That was just classic Nate. It is like him just chilling in the fight, taking time off. He makes a mockery of it sometimes. But that's just classic Nate Diaz. I was very happy with him, for him getting the win. I'm a big Ferguson fan, but to wrap up his career the way he has, and very, very happy for Nate.
Looks like Nate's leaving the UFC to go to boxing. How do you think he'll do over there?
It's hard to say. I mean, Nate's. I think Nate's a better boxer than he is like a kickboxer, and you can see him utilize his boxing skill set more than his kicks and whatnot in his fight repertoire. But how he goes against, I think he'll do very well. He's got the eye for it. He's got the brain for it. He's a good boxer. We'll wait and see how he adjusts and stuff. And I know though, during his camps, during his training, especially, he does a lot of boxing, so I'm sure he'll do fine.
And then the co-main event, Khamzat Chimaev, quick work of Kevin Holland. What did you think of that win?
That was unbelievable, honestly. It's, I think a lot of what the fans can't appreciate, and I think only other fighters can appreciate, is just the amount of confidence Chimaev needed to have to just be like, you know what, I'm going to get this guy down, and that's all I'm doing. I'm going to, I will outlast him. I'll get him down. I'll hold him down. I'll do what I want with him, and I'm going to do everything to, he just let his gas tank go. He just invested completely knowing that's how it was going to happen. And mate, it was wild, absolutely wild.
I'm going to read a quote here. I'm not going to do an impression of Chimaev. I don't want to butcher it here, but he says, in regards to you, he says, I like that guy, so I don't want to fight good guys. I need some bad guys, so I want to fight some bad guys. He then went on to say that he's a fan of yours and he wants to train with you. Your reaction, Rob, you've won him over.
Yeah, that's I'm happy with that. Chimaev's a his personality is just what you see is what you get. He's wild, but he's a phenomenal fighter, And I like his approach on hunting bad guys. It's I don't know. He's just that I was really impressed with that Holland fight, and I'm very interested in seeing where he goes with it.
Do you take that as a compliment though, that he wants to train with you and work with you as opposed to wanting to fight you?
Definitely. It is a compliment. So I'll definitely take it. I'd like to work with him because anyone that can implement game plans the way he has, and obviously his wrestling and grappling is top tier. He's trained with the likes of Till as well, and one day hopefully our paths cross and we can get some good work together.
How do you think he'd do in the top 5 in middleweight? We know we can do it at welterweight, but middleweight, seeing what he did to Holland, do you think he'd have success against some guys like yourself?
Yeah. Are you saying he'd have success against me?
No, not you specifically, but I'm just saying in that top five. Like, I think that win over Holland really
joking,
made people believe. Okay, just clarifying. Don't want to make sure I'm getting any enemies here. You know, so
no, yeah, for sure, for sure. I can't express enough how wild it was to see him just go in there and manhandle Holland that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was crazy, and then for him to have the undoubted belief and confidence and skill set, strength and endurance to just do that, it's it's crazy. It is crazy. You know, people don't realize how hard it is to hold people down that don't want to be held down, mate.
Yeah.
You know, and he did that quite easily. He's a big dude. I'm sure he could do 185 quite well, and especially with the skill sets behind it as well.
Yeah, and it sounds like maybe we will see a middleweight fight as they're sort of figuring out what's happening with the welterweight title there. And just last thing on 279, a bit of a controversial fight. Li Jingliang, Daniel Rodriguez. I don't know if you caught that fight. If so, how did you score it?
Mate, I don't know. What do you do?
It was close. It was very close. I don't think it was a robbery. I just think it was a very close fight.
Yeah, what do you do? You know, that's the problem with leaving it to the judges, I guess. And I have been a victim of this as well.
Right. Exactly.
It is something that has been around since the start of the sport. And you know, it's just a variable we all have to deal with. It's always been there. Like, I'm not about to hold a sign and go walk in the streets, but
right.
But,
yeah.
You know, it is what it is. Like, what can you do? What can you do?
No, I agree. Let's get back to you and your big win. Like I mentioned at UFC Paris, what a fight that was. Great performance. You know, you've won the belt before. You've had a lot of impressive victories. Where does that one rank? That's got to be up there. Just, you know, getting to fight in Paris for the first time for the UFC and getting a dominant win like that.
Yeah, definitely. It's to add another historical event to my career, and to leave that event, you know, with the crowd and the emotions, and then the result and the performance of the fight itself. Yeah, it is very special to me. It was a great win. It was a great fight, and it was great to be a part of such an event, and to come back home. And you know, now I'm resting and chilling, and I don't know. It was a great time. I had a great time.
I know you talked a bit about Vettori's antics at the weigh-ins. What about him grabbing the mic after the fight? Did that bother you at all?
No, I didn't even realize, to be honest.
It happened pretty quickly. I know. Yeah, it was interesting. So
people have been asking me about it. Like, has it annoyed me? I didn't even realize. And then, nor do I really care. I didn't understand. Like, I didn't realize there's a way it should be done. I didn't know we had a written guide on how that works. So, you know, also, like, how temperamental must I be to get my panties up in a bunch with him if he just taken the mic.
Well, and the other thing is, like, you know, he really, I know he's very animated even going into the fight, but it seemed like he really kind of tried to, you know, animate himself against you as a way to maybe intimidate you. Do you think that worked against him?
Probably. It's you can see he's the sort of fighter that likes getting into his opponent's heads, but more so, he does that to get into your head, to get in his own head. Like, that's what he needs to do. He gets emotionally invested in the fight, and then gets in there with some grit and anger. And then he had nothing to bounce off. He had nothing to stoke the flames, if you would, with me. And I'm sure that annoyed him to some extent. Because, mate, I'm a cold cut killer. I just switch on, I change in there, and that's just me though.
We've got Israel defending his title against Alex Perreira in November. I was just curious your thoughts on that fight. Who do you see coming out on top in that one?
Mate, that's a tricky fight to pin down. If I was a betting man, I'd have to go with Adesanya. You'd have to. You know, I think he's the best defensive striker in the game. Physically, it just makes perfect sense for him to fight that way, and he's a tricky guy to hit. But Pereira's huge, man. He's a huge guy, and they've fought before, so they have some sort of understanding of each other's reach. The biggest factor and variable in this fight is going to be the small gloves, and how that plays a role in the fight itself. Nobody can say until the night. So that's where I'm at on that.
If Perreira wins, do you think you could insert there into that title fight? Because again, that win over Vettori, he's ranked very high. That's got to put you in line, I would think, unless they do the rematch right away.
Definitely. That Yeah, definitely. I have more than proven that I am the best, like the dude.
Mhm.
I'm that guy who's lurking, just hunting that gold, and and I've proven to everyone that my level is just that high.
Yeah, no, and I completely agree there. Sticking with middleweights, what did you make of this Anderson Silva Jake Paul fight? We just had the presser today.
Yeah, mate, I don't know. I don't know. Like I'm very, very happy for Anderson Silva to have gotten the fight. Obviously, it's going to be a really good payday, and honestly, I think Anderson Silva can win. So hats off to them.
Yeah, does that fight interest you at all? Will you be watching?
Oh, mate, I barely watch the fights in my own sport, let alone
Hey,
anybody
listen,
else's.
I cover the sport and it's tough. I got 2 kids, and you have kids as well. I know it's tough to kind of keep up with everything, and you have to train on top of that, right? So it's I know it's hard to keep track of everything, right? So
Yeah, there's just so many things to do.
I know it's true. Yeah, it's true. It's true. That's thank God for the PVR, the recording of fights and everything makes sense. When are you looking to return? When would be the ideal return date for you?
First quarter next year.
Yeah,
Trying to
enjoy
get
the
in a fight.
holidays.
Yeah, trying to get in a fight before, like at the end of this year. There's not a lot of time. There's 2 months before the end of the year. It'd be hard to get in. So I don't know. February next year would be a good time. Month off, back to work, back in there, and I think yeah, February next year is a good place to be.
If a title shot's next, not next, Paulo Costa seems like the odd man out. Is that a fight that you would be interested in?
Mate, I've never really picked my fights. It'll be what it be. Yeah, they line them up. I knock them down. Simple.
Okay, that makes sense. Little sharp turn here. I'm sure you heard the news about Elias Theodorou. I know you weren't on the same Ultimate Fighter season, but just your reaction to hearing him pass away at 34 years of age.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's a terrible thing. Someone so young, and it's to be in a circle that is kind of, it's kind of the same circle. It's just it. Yeah, mate, you got to yeah, be like, what do you? You got to enjoy the time you have. Really
Yeah.
makes you think. It puts things in perspective a bit.
And just last question: any update on the UFC going back to Australia?
Mate, I don't know. I don't. I've heard so many rumors and flags of like the UFC coming to Australia, which I would love to be a part of that card. That's makes perfect sense for me fighting in my backyard. But I you don't know until they tell you, until they say it. You just don't know. There's rumors, there's new rumors spouting up every few seconds. So gotta wait and see.
Rob, I'll let you enjoy your day. Thank you so much for doing this. If there's anyone you want to thank before we get out of here, any sponsors, any social media, I'll give you the last word.
I just want to thank all my fans and all the guys that watch me, and you guys are the reason why I can do what I do. So I hope you guys enjoy what I get up to, but and stay tuned.